I am Dr. Marilyn Ward, and today we are going to continue discussing the difference between animal and plant protein. So, if you're watching my social media, I always do like a little short on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and then I bring it to YouTube for a longer, more in-depth discussion. So, today it is the animal versus plant protein because I get that question a lot. What is better? And it really is a personal preference and how your body can digest both. So first, let's kind of break it down. So protein, huge talk about it right now. A lot of women going through the perimenopausal journey are, more protein, because as we get older, we tend to lose muscle mass. And all of that starts with, building more muscle. But where does that come from? Comes from having more protein, lifting the weights. But in order to gain that muscle when you're lifting the weights, you got to feed it some protein. So we need more to keep up with all the changes that are going on in our body. So protein, the essential building blocks for repairing tissues, supporting immune function, maintaining overall health. While both plant and animal serves, these roles in our body, they differ structurally and nutritionally in ways that may influence your dietary preferences. So, because animal proteins, they are complete proteins. You have all of your 9 essential amino acids. Now, skipping over here, how many amino acids are there? There are 20, 9 essential and 11 non-essential. What's the difference between the two? So essential cannot be synthesized by the body and it must be obtained through the diet. Non-essential can be produced by the body from other compounds even if it is not consumed directly. So that's where that preference comes in, and also how we break it down also comes in. So the essential must come from food sources, crucial for growth, repair, and maintaining bodily functions, where the non-essential, the body can synthesize from other nutrients, still vital for health, but cannot be required, not required in the diet. Your body already has that. So back to the structure and how our bodies break the proteins down. So we know that animal proteins have all 9 essential. The plant proteins, they're often incomplete, lacking just one or more essential amino acids, but a variety of the food combinations, like adding rice and beans, can provide that complete profile. So again, and I'm not here to say one is better than the other. I'm not here to influence you one way or the other. I'm just here to provide you with the scientific facts of both, so then you can make an intelligent decision on your own as which you prefer. And maybe for most, it's both, right? For me, it's both. I will go to plant or animal for my protein. I don't have a particular preference over the other. I use both. So let's talk about the change, the structure difference. So, and I'm not going to get into the huge whole molecular structure, but just a little bit. It is different. They both have the amino acid chains forming the primary, secondary, tertiary, and quaternary structures, but the animal and the plant different in the helices and the folds. I'm going to leave it at that. You can go and look up that structure. It is deep. I did have several years of chemistry, but I'm not going to break it down here. We're going to keep this for the general population. All right, so you don't have to be a scientific scholar to understand what I'm saying. Let's talk about digestibility and absorption. This is where like how your body handles protein, this can make a difference. So animal protein, it is more digestible, it's more bioavailable, meaning the body can absorb it and utilize it more efficiently. So, gets into the system, works faster. Why? Well, let's look at plant protein. It is less digestible due to the fiber. So, this is why when we talk about juicing, and if you use an actual juicer where it extracts the fiber and you're getting the pure juice, that's different. When you add that fiber, it takes longer to digest because the fiber stays in there. That's what helps keep us fuller longer when you have that fiber. So the fiber, it is less digestible. Natural compounds like the phytates through the cooking and preparation methods can improve absorption. So again, eating raw vegetables versus cooked vegetables, it makes a difference in how our body breaks it down. Think about oatmeal, all right? So when you have steel cut oats, steel cut, not rolled, steel cut, the little nugget, takes your body longer to break that down than it is the rolled oats, than it is the pre-packaged, already looks very mushy oats. So if you want to stay fuller longer, you want those steel cut oats and your body works harder to break that fiber down as opposed to getting that instant, that's the word I was trying to say, the instant oatmeal. All right, so that's like a perfect example of how the body breaks down that fiber. All right, nutritional consumption or composition. Let me see if I can read this correctly. Nutritional composition. Plant proteins often come packaged with fiber, antioxidants, and phytonutrients, typically lower in saturated fat and cholesterol. So you know what that means. When we talk about plant protein, animal proteins provide nutrients like the vitamin B12. So this is why you see a lot of vegans taking supplements, especially B12 supplements. My sister and I, years ago, we both went vegan, and both of us ended up having to take a B12 vitamin supplement because we were both lacking. The heme iron. Now, I will say that heme iron has both, the science with that lately has been fluctuating. Used to be good, now it's bad. So I will say, like, if you are low on iron, anemic, heme iron is good for you, but too much can be bad. So, but when you're eating red meat, you get that heme iron. Omega-3s in your fish, in your fatty fish, like your salmon, and then they are harder to obtain from plants alone. So this is why getting a mixture of both can be good, but again, it's up to you because it depends on how your body can break it down. Health considerations. So, animal protein has been linked to muscle maintenance and strength, but typically with excessive intake. So, you see bodybuilders, they are, hammering the protein intake. And I love watching some of those. In the carnivore diet, there's been a lot going on with this carnivore diet, and I've been doing my research, and, I'm finding, there's some really interesting facts, and maybe we'll make that a whole nother conversation, but there's some interesting facts behind it. I'll just leave it at that. So when you're eating a lot of the red meat, or if you're eating processed meat, it can have some adverse side effects or some adverse health effects. So you got to be careful, the high cholesterol, high blood pressure. Again, take it with a grain of salt, literally. So just be careful, if if you do want to have that animal protein, go with your leaner proteins. Maybe only hit red meat once a week or twice a week. Look for like your lean chicken, seafood, the salmon, because it has the omega-3s. So kind of be cautious and methodical when you're making your meals for the week at what sources of protein, and then mix it up a little bit. They always say it's nice to go like a vegetarian one day a week, or a vegan meal one day a week. Again, just a suggestion. So plant protein is associated with the heart health and reduced risk of chronic disease. It is needed to meet certain protein, and especially for active adults. So, and I'll put an image on there that gives you some different sources of protein for both. But it really, I will say, calorie wise is going to be different. Your carbohydrates, if you're one that's tracking carbs, you're going to notice more carbs in that plant protein than you would with the animal protein. So again, diet preferences and personal preferences are gonna come into play here. There is no one size fits all. There's no like I said, everybody needs to go, carnivore, or everybody needs to go vegan. But think about your personal health goals, your dietary restriction preference or your preferences, ethical or environmental values, and your cultural and lifestyle factors. So again, if you have high blood pressure or high cholesterol, like you might want to back off on eating some of that red meat and go plant-based for a while. But again, it has to fit in naturally into your day and into your diet. If it seems like a chore and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm so, I don't know what to do, then it's not going to help either. So again, mixture of both. Trying to think of what I'm going to have for dinner tonight. I'm having sushi, so great source of protein. The seaweed, I'm going to get my vegetables in there. So it is what you want it to be. This is just some information that will maybe help you make that decision or just give you some options. But remember, we need to have this protein. How much protein? I've got videos, 3 different formulas that you can use to figure out your protein. So find me on my other social media channels. I've posted here on YouTube as well, because how much protein for your body is crucial as well. So I hope this helps and you find it useful. Please like, share, subscribe. I can only reach so many people, so that's why I say, share it, because you never know who else might need this information. I hope you all have a wonderful and happy Friday.